We're talking about the roles of the functions of the management. Another theory after Henry Fayol is the Henry Mintzberg's theory of the roles of the management. According to Henry Mintzberg, there are three types of the roles that are further divided into 10 roles indeed, but there are major three types of roles that a manager performs inside the business organization. That three types of roles are interpersonal roles, interpersonal role are related to people, informational roles that are related to the information process, and then decisional roles related to the entrepreneurship and decision making process. And as I told you, there are subcategories of these roles too, we'll talk about. First of all, let's talk about the interpersonal roles. There are three further interpersonal roles. One is called figurehead. Figurehead is a symbolic leader, the person who do not have a said and formal authority in the business organization, uh, but still people follow him. People follow him because of his charismatic personality, because of his paternal or maternal attitude towards the employees, because he's so motherly or fatherly he or she is towards the employees. That's why people accept him as a role of a leader. This is called figurehead. Figureheads are usually involved in the process of changing the systems of the business organizations when people are failing as a manager in doing that because people do not accept the new laws or new situations. Figurehead work there, and they make people realize that something that is going to change is in their favor. Then we have leader, the person with the manager with the formal authority. The manager with the formal authority, and the leader is doing all the management functions that we have earlier talked about in the Henry Fayol's theory. Then another role is liaison. Liaison means bridge, a link between the senior manager and the management and the junior management. Then we have informational roles. The first informational role is monitor. If we can number them, 1, 2, 3. Monitor is the person who collects the information or on behalf of organization. We call it receiver too, who collects the information on behalf of organization. For example, market researcher. Then we have disseminator. The person who sends this information to the relevant department. For example, he has collected the information that consumer are leaving the product because they have quality issues. Now, this quality issues problem should be communicated to the quality department or the production department. This job will be called disseminator. Sends this information to the relevant people, to the relevant departments. Then we have spokesperson. Who represents the organization in the outer world, a kind of delegate. Who represents the organization in outer world. The third roles are decisional roles. The first decisional role is the entrepreneurship role. As a manager, they always try to find out new opportunities for the business. Where business can perform better, where there is less competition, for example, where the business can perform better in comparison with the other competitors. Another job is decisional role is resource allocator. This is what we have already studied in Fayol's theory. It's a job of manager to allocate the resources uh, to achieve the objective of the business. These allocation of resources, physical, non-physical, all resources. Another job is disturbance handler. There might be different disturbances in the during the business operation. For example, a sudden breakdown of machinery or a situation because of the changing environment or anything like that. The manager should handle those situations. That's why they are called disturbance handler. And then negotiators. This is the manager who negotiates on behalf of organization. This negotiation might be with the trade union on the wage rate, might with the government on the taxes, with government on taxes, might be with the suppliers on the rates. So these are the negotiations. If you look at those, so these are 10 roles in total, 3 in the interpersonal role, 3 in the informational roles, and 4 in the decisional roles. It's not necessary that every manager will be performing all these 10 roles in the business organization. This will depend on the type of the business, size of the business, nature of the business. In some business, one person will be performing majority of these roles, and in larger organizations, public limited companies and multinational companies, for every role there might be different managers. So it depends on the size of the business organization. We can use these Mintzberg roles in different ways in the organizations. Uses of Mintzberg roles. We can use them at the time of recruitment. We can identify during the interviews, we can try to judge which specific roles the person is required to perform and which specific roles he can perform according to his skills that he has written on his CV. We can also use them at the time of advertising a vacancy, that this specific role manager is required. We can also use them at the time of remeasurement of performance, that these tasks has been allocated to the managers, whether they are doing them in a fine way or not. So there are multiple roles of the Mintzberg theory that can be used during the for the purpose of hiring and for the purpose of judging the employees in the future.